Hey, this is Meredith's husband. I've got some SEO advice for you, but I'm going to keep it really simple so that you can understand it, so it makes sense, and most importantly, so you can actually use it.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hold on a second. Oh, my hair looks terrible. Let me just fix a little something.
We're doing a podcast, so it doesn't really
I know,
matter.
but I still need to look at myself.
Oh, okay. So what's happening? How's business?
Oh, are we actually recording?
Yeah.
We started?
Yes.
I didn't know that we started.
Yeah, that's why I'm sounding so professional.
You are? I know. I didn't know if we started. Oh, hi. Hello, everyone. Business is good right now. Actually, I just came back from Maryland where I had a shoot that it just went so well. So the kid is 5.
Yeah.
His name is Isaac.
Yeah.
And I love him so much. Last year we couldn't shoot because of COVID.
Right.
And they were out of town, so especially couldn't shoot. It was before the vaccines. And I've been photographing him since he was 1 year old. And I tell you, every year, I feel like we get closer and closer and closer. And he gets older and understands more about love and is so vocal. He's just like, in the middle of shooting, he'd just look up and he goes, "I love you so much, Meredith. I just love you. I love you. I can't believe you're here." And my heart is just...
My clients say the same thing to me.
So it was really lovely. I flew down in the morning and flew back at night the same day. And the parents are amazing. And it was so great. And then tomorrow, a car is going to pick me up at 9 in the morning.
9 in the morning.
9 in the morning, I know. And
does that exist?
Reportedly, people say it does. I've heard rumors. But yeah. And then I'm going to Northampton for the day. And this is 1 out of 3 shoots for this family who want me to capture their extended family's summer. And then we're going to make a big album, and everyone's going to get an album, and it's going to serve as their family's history, legacy, heirloom. So
that sounds like a really good client.
I know.
How did they find you?
That's a very good question. They found me through Google.
No way.
Yep. Actually, as did the client in Maryland. They also found me through Google.
What out of every 10 clients, what percentage of your clients find you through Google?
New clients?
Yeah, new, first time.
I'd say 8, probably. I'd say 8. I'd say 1 will find me in Yelp, but Yelp just started this weird thing where you have to pay to see your
Yelp is always trying to figure out ways to make money. Yeah.
And they also hide like 80% of my reviews. Because they don't believe they're real. So it says I have 20 reviews when I've got like 80 or something. And they're great reviews, but nobody can see them.
Right.
Yeah. And then one will come from Park Slope parents. Every so often a Park Slope parents will come through. Yeah. If not recommended through other clients.
How many, other photographers? How do other photographers get their business? How do they find clients, or clients find them?
That is a good question. There are so many courses about how to get leads. I know sticky albums, I think they're called. There are many ways, but that is one of the hardest things, is finding new clients. And then there's the, do you put your pricing on your website? Do you not put your pricing on your website?
Right.
And then some people say, oh, don't put your pricing on your website because then you want the clients to call, and then you want to guide them through everything.
Yeah, there's, I mean, I have thoughts on that. I certainly, if your prices are like the lowest, if you're the low price leader, definitely put your prices on your website. If it's a feature, if it's a selling point, then yes. So if you're the cheapest, absolutely. If you're not the cheapest, then it's kind of up to you. If you're really good at selling, if you like, if you have that skill, and not everybody does, of being able to talk about your prices and sell people on packages in person, then I'll keep them off your website and say, something simple like starting at. Right. But for SEO purposes, you do want to have at least a page that is about your rates or your investment or your fees or whatever. Because people, if somebody has found you and they're thinking about hiring you, what sometimes people do is they'll go to Google and they'll type in MEREDITH'S in their rates, and they'll want to go right to your rates page. Really? And so you want to have that page. And then if at the very least you want to say, my rates the session fees start at such and such, and products are extra. You want to say something, or just have a link. Just say, hey, if you'd like to know my pricing, shoot me an email and I'll send you my pricing guide. Right. Something like that. It's good to get people's email address as well.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I think a lot of photographers who are all inclusive, they do, they'll say X amount of dollars and you get this number of digital files with it.
Yeah.
Which then, to me, what's tricky about that is then they're also setting a precedent that clients just assume that if you give a price that digital images are included. But often then what people don't know is what to do then with those digital images.
Yeah.
And that's why I do what I do that's why I do what I do. Mm-hmm. Do you want to know what I do?
Yeah, please.
Might as well. So I have the session fee at $500. And then all products are additional and I don't actually have packages because I want to cater to each client individually. So they only get what they absolutely want and what they love. And I want to put products in their hand because I don't know, searching through your gazillion digital files on your device is not as cute as just sitting down. Yeah. It's just more, you think, oh, it's so easy. They're right here. But then you've got to scroll through and get
then you've got a folder with 1,000 or 100 images. And
they're most of them are, if you took them, you think they're good until you realize, oh, let me get
Meredith this is better.
Yes. And many other photographers as well. But I prefer, the idea and experience of cuddling on the couch together and going through the album and like there's mom and
or having it on your wall and seeing it every day and having it on your so you can experience it. And there are studies that show that kids are a lot happier growing up with photos of them on the walls. And Tamara Lackey was the one who said it. Amazing photographer, shout out. But she said that kids who grow up with pictures of them everywhere feel more a part of the family and see themselves as part of a greater whole and see that they're loved because they can actually see themselves. They know somebody is proud of them.
Yeah.
In terms of SEO, it doesn't make much difference. It is, like I said, it's good to have that page. You probably don't want to have all your rates. But I think it's also good to have some sort of ballpark or something. Like in your case, the session fee is whatever, and then everything else is extra. And then whenever you can capture somebody's email, even if they're not going to be a fit right away, hey, it's good to have a list.
And then where do you put that list? Your CRMs?
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of places you can have something like MailChimp. You could just use a spreadsheet. You can use a CRM, any number of places, but
Flowdesk is really pretty.
I don't know Flowdesk.
Flowdesk is so much better than MailChimp. Flowdesk is aesthetically beautiful. It costs more, but man, it is worth it because it is pretty.
Yeah. I think it's getting so that lots of different industries have their own version of MailChimp or whatever. There's so many of them out there.
Yeah.
But there's definitely value in having a list. If you've never put any effort into creating a list, it's something you do want to do, because whatever method you're using for promoting yourself, whether it's your website in Google or Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever, those places all have algorithms. So even if you're getting lots of leads now on, say, Facebook, there's always going to be a time when Facebook changes something, and then all of a sudden your leads are going to dry up. Like it happens no matter what platform you're on. So you want to really own your audience as much as you can. Wherever your audience is, always try to get their email, so that if and when your Facebook they change something and your traffic disappears, you then have a way to contact your audience.
Now here's my question. You have to. People always say you can't take someone's email without their permission. So if somebody is emailing you for an inquiry, does that mean you can then use their email?
Yeah, you mean you can't send them a newsletter without their permission.
Oh,
that's what you mean. You obviously you can't get their email without their permission, because they have to give it to you.
Right.
Technically,
yeah, that's what I mean.
Technically, yes, there is a law that if you have a form on your website and you have a newsletter, somebody has to check that little box. Yes, I'd like to get information from you. You're not supposed to just email somebody who you happen to have their email.
Now, but what if that person inquires into your services? Then can you add them to the?
No, because they're not signing up for your newsletter. Technically, they're not signing up to get a newsletter. They're contacting you to ask a question.
Oh,
it's technically illegal.
People can remove themselves from it.
Sure. Yeah. If you have an unsubscribe.
I don't think I have a box. Sign up for my email. Sign up for my newsletter.
You don't have a newsletter.
I do have a newsletter now.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, or you have a list and you want to start a newsletter, you want to get people's permission, the thing you would need to do is send them initial emails. Say, hey, first name, I'm starting a newsletter. Would you like to be on it? If so, great. If not, please click the unsubscribe button below. That's a pretty good way to get started. And it is wise, because if you don't do that, if you just start emailing people kind of out of the blue and they didn't ask, if they mark it as spam, that's going to make it hard for you to get your other emails delivered.
Oh, really? Yeah, because I've seen Flowdesk has this thing, and I'm not sponsored clearly by Flowdesk. I'd love to be, but I'm not. That on Flowdesk, when you send them out, you can see how many people opened it, how many people clicked, how many, if any, people unsubscribed, and how many, if any, people marked it as spam. Because
one of the major obstacles for email marketing is getting to people's inbox. So getting around spam filters, and then further, if like you're sending to a Gmail, they have their I forget what their 3 types of email are, like promotional, and they have 3 other boxes that are not people's inbox. They're like, promotions, announcements, and social, or something like that. If you go if your email ends up in one of those boxes, that means that there's a pretty good chance people are never going to see it. So one obstacle is just getting people to see your emails. And if you send out an email to like 100 people, not all 100 are even going to see it.
Really? Where's it going to go?
Spam, or one of those other folders, or, and different email providers, Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, whatever they are, they all have different ways of filtering email and determining what's spam. But getting around spam filters is not always easy. And if you start sending your email to people who didn't want it, and they say, hey, this email is spam, then MailChimp or Flowdesk or whoever you use is going to say like this, this person, if you get too many people saying you're spam, they'll shut you down.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's only like 2% or something. It's not
good.
And it can go a step even further. And if too many people who have Gmail say this person is sending me spam, Gmail is going to say, hey, this sender is spam. And when you go to email your friend or your mom, Gmail might think that's spam. So you got a reputation to protect. So long story, but the point is, if you're starting a list, you want to get people's permission. So
okay, that's good to know. Good
and
to
if you
know.
just ask them right up front, like, be honest, say, hey, I'm starting a list. I know you didn't opt in. If you want to, no problem. If you don't want to, just click unsubscribe.
We'd love to have you, but
yes,
no hard feelings.
Yeah. And say what's going to be in it. Don't, say I have a newsletter. I mean, people don't sign up for newsletters because they want to get a newsletter. There's something in the newsletter they want. So tell them what's going to be in the newsletter.
Right. Like specials or whatever, if you have them.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
What else is happening? Or do you want to know?
Do I want to know?
Yeah. Are we going to go through somebody's website and go over it?
Oh, well, we can either do that, or I thought we had a follow-up question from our previous. Yeah, it was.
Do you have it?
I remember it.
Okay.
Yeah, the person wanted to know what can they do for SEO, for WordPress SEO. They have a photography site on WordPress. They want to know, are there any simple things to do?
Okay, let's do that.
For specifically for WordPress sites. And this is a huge topic, but there's a couple first steps that that everybody has to take. And number one is getting an SEO plugin. So if you have a WordPress site, WordPress uses plugins to do a number of things. To do anything for SEO, you're going to need to start with an SEO plugin. WordPress doesn't have SEO settings by default, so you need to install a plugin.
Where do you get the plugin?
You can just go when you log into your WordPress site, just go down to on the left-hand side that says plugins and go install new, and then you can do a search. And there's a bunch of them. I think there's probably 3 that I would say are maybe not the leaders, but there's 2 that are the most well-known. Yoast SEO is the most well-known. All-in-one SEO is the other, I think, most popular.
Are there any ones that are better than
those?
Others?
Those are both not bad. But the issue is they have both gotten to be really big plugins. And what that means is there's a lot of stuff. They have a lot of features, because the trend has been for the SEO plugin to tell you everything you need to do about SEO. Right. And this is one reason that Yoast became really popular. If you're familiar with Yoast, they have like red, yellow, and green buttons. And if your pages have a green button light, or that means it's good for SEO. And if it has a red light, it's bad for SEO.
I think I've heard of this.
Yeah. So it's a gimmick. Like it's
really.
Yeah. It has worked extremely well, because now other plugins are doing that also, and people like it. I mean, I can see,
Yeah, I would like that.
It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Yeah.
So when you think that you're actually doing things, you're really not?
It is checking stuff, but it doesn't, don't think that when your lights are green, you're going to all of a sudden show up on page 1.
Interesting.
Like some of our clients sometimes are other agencies. They're bigger agencies than my own. And they have a client, and those agencies come to me and they say, we want to optimize this site. And one time I had an agency tell me, okay, this site is using Yoast and they want to make sure all the lights are green.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, trust me, we're doing their SEO. It's pretty good. It doesn't matter if those lights don't matter. And this agency person said, well, I don't care. The client just wants the lights green.
Right. I can understand that.
So I got off the phone and I said to my team, hey, everybody, they're using Yoast. Just let's make sure those lights are green. And immediately there were 3 other people in the room. And they froze. They stopped talking. They stopped doing what they're doing. They froze. They didn't move a muscle. And after a couple seconds, Carrie, who is the gutsiest among them, looked over to me and she said, those are bullshit, right? So my 3 SEO pros were sitting here thinking, oh my God, thinks that those lights actually mean something. No, so we technically made their SEO worse, but the lights were then green.
Holy smokes!
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, good to know.
So anyway, that's the trend. So other plugins, the other plugin I mentioned, All-in-one SEO, has actually been my favorite for like 10, 15 years.
Can you repeat that again?
All-in-one SEO. Okay. You don't need to remember it though. Okay. They have also started implementing their own version of the red, green,
of course,
yellow buttons.
Yeah.
And the problem is that makes, you can think you have great SEO when you're actually making it worse. The other problem is it makes the plugin really big and it slows your site down because it's doing more.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I always liked all-in-one, but then fairly recently, within the last year or so, I had all my clients started mentioning their site was slow, their site was slow. And all-in-one had released an update. And when I went to look at load times, I use a tool to see which plugins are making your site the slowest. All of a sudden, all-in-one SEO went from 10 or 20% of your load time to 70%.
Wow.
So we got rid of that one. And the one that I use and like now is called Framework SEO.
Framework. Literally framework.
Framework. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you try to install go to the install a new plugin page in your WordPress admin and just do Framework SEO, you'll find it and you can install that one. And it's very light. It doesn't try to do SEO for you. It doesn't, have extra features, but it does have all the things you would need in order to do your SEO.
So no bells and whistles of green light, red light.
No, yeah, I mean minimal. They're very minimal.
Right. Yeah,
they're very useful. Their features are very useful, but it's none of the extra stuff that it's not. There's no gimmicks there for just the sake of
So marketing. Then you would again just cavewoman question. So then you would just delete the all-in-one or whatever one's plugin you have, and then if you have another one there
and you install the SEO framework, I believe one of the first step is hey, do you want to import your SEO settings from another plugin?
Oh.
And so you do a couple mouse clicks and it will import all your settings.
So then you say yes.
Yes. And then you can delete the old one after you have imported.
Okay, good.
If you don't have a plugin, then you obviously don't need to do that.
Right. Okay. That's good.
Yeah. Just so you know, how fast your website, that's a ranking factor. So if two websites are exactly equal, but one is faster than the other, the faster one is going to rank higher.
Really?
Yeah. And people just don't like slow websites.
No, nobody has time. It's 3 seconds. 3 seconds of my life.
Amazon, you talk about people who have money to do research on this sort of stuff. Amazon did a study once and they found for every 10th of a second that your page takes to load, I think in the checkout process. So every 10th of a second, the conversion rate drops by 10%.
Wow.
So
that's so interesting.
So if
it makes sense. The
one thing you don't want to do is frustrate people who come to your website, and a slow website is going to do that. So,
yeah, because it gives you time to be come on, all right, forget it. It's not worth it. Yeah. It's not worth it.
Right.
It's crazy that we've gotten to the point that 5 seconds of your life of just not having any activity, it's not worth it. I don't
imagine
need those,
if a website took 5 seconds to load. I would throw my phone out the window. That'd be insane.
And you're
the internet's broken.
It would take 3 minutes just to get online.
Let me finish up my story about WordPress SEO.
Please.
So after you do that, you're going to have all the tools you would need to do your on-site SEO, but you need to know what you want to do. So you need to know, what problems does my site have that I need to fix? So with these tools, you can fix anything, but you need to know what needs fixing.
Right. And so how do you know that?
To do that, there are bazillion tools out there to do it. There are 3 good ones. There are 3 main ones. They are called, and I'll go through these so you don't need to remember these right now, but they're Semrush, Moz.com, and Ahrefs.
Can we provide, sorry, I totally talked over the last one, but can you provide links?
Yeah, I will.
All of those?
Yeah, I will. I'll put the one I recommend. These are good tools. Cool. They're really good tools. SEO.
Can you say the third one that I talked over?
Ahrefs, Ahrefs.com. Anyway, those are all good tools. They're not free. They're all about, I think they start around $100 a month and go up. They, like I said, SEO pros use these tools unless you're doing enterprise level. So
what does that mean?
So Ford or Nike, Ford. They have bigger tools that are probably 10 grand a year or so. However, most SEO agencies are going to use Semrush. That's what I use. And I use it I pay, I think it's close to $3 grand a year. But but that's for several sites. So if you have just one site, their basic plan is fine. They don't publish a free plan, but if you sign up for their trial, and then it's a 7-day trial, if you sign up for their trial and then cancel, they will knock you down to a free plan, which you can do just one site, and it's free. And it's the same tools I use.
That is gold there, my friend.
Don't tell them I told you.
Okay. Oh God.
So that I'll put
secret.
Yeah, that I'll put on. I'll put a link to that on the website.
That's great. That'll be super helpful.
There's also a link in the show notes. So then what you do is you sign up and you do an audit of your site, and it tells you the problems. It's going to say, hey, your title tags are too long, or they're duplicate, or they're not long enough, or they're missing. And it has about 100 different checks.
Wow.
And it's going to run through all of them and spit out a report, and it'll tell you the top 3 things that are bringing your rankings down.
Wow.
And so then you do those 3 things, and then you run your audit again. And then it'll give you the next 3 things. And it'll give you a score, an overall score of your site. And you want to get your score to a 92 or better. And when you start, if you're running on WordPress, if you've never done SEO before, you're probably going to have like in the 70s, 60s, maybe in the 80s. It depends. But you want to get to a 92 or better. And once you do that, then you don't have to, then your on-site SEO is good. Then you just have to worry if you add pages or make changes that you then optimize those blogs and run the audit again. But that's
how often should you be doing this? The checking.
Well, once you set that up, you'll set up a project, and it'll check your website every week, and it'll send you a report if you want it. And once you see that your score is dropped below a 92, then you want to go back in and fix those. As long as your score is above a 92, you should be fine. And this is the way to automate. This is what we do for our clients. This is the first step. Get your on-site SEO above 92. Then you don't have to do anything unless it drops below.
And they'll tell you if it drops below? And
they'll tell you every week. They'll send you the report saying, here's your score. These are your top 3 things. It'll always give you 3 things. But if you have a 95 and those 3 things are just not that important. So you can spend your time doing other stuff.
And is 92 just some random... Is there a reason for 92?
That's the top 10% of all websites.
Interesting.
So if you're in the top 10%, Google's not going to penalize you.
Right.
You're never going to get to 100. Don't try. You don't need to be a 99. You don't get there's no extra credit for an A+ versus an A.
Right.
Like if a 96 and a 94, it doesn't really do you any good.
You're on the same team.
It's only once you drop below an A, once you get out of that 10%, that you got to be like, oh, okay, I got to fix things up.
Okay. Thank you. That's great.
Yeah. So that's the foundation. You got to do that. That's, like I said, we do that for all of our clients. That's number one. Doesn't matter what industry you're in or what you're selling, or if you're on WordPress or any other thing, any other platform for that matter. You got to make sure to take care of your on-site SEO. It's the foundation for everything. And that alone is you're not going to automatically appear on page 1.
Right.
You will probably, your keywords will increase, your rankings will increase. But if you don't do this step, then no matter what you do, you're never going to be on page 1. So this is kind of like, I think of this as like putting gas in you're about to leave on a cross-country trip.
Right.
You got to put gas in the car, but just putting gas in your car doesn't mean you're at your destination.
Right.
You still got to drive there. Right. But if you don't put gas in your car,
can't really drive unless it's an electric car.
Okay. Well, then charge your battery. Oh my God. You've totally ruined my analogy.
Well, we got to keep it modern.
Yes. Okay. I'll think of something else.
All right. Very good. Charge your iPad or pod or whatever it is.
Right.
Thank you. That's a great one. Yeah.
Got to do it. I'll try to put some details on there on MEREDITH'Shusband.com for that as well.
I love that that's a thing.
MEREDITH'Shusband.com.
Yeah. That's kind of the best website name
I can't believe it was available.
Yeah. I can.
Think of all the Meredith's husbands out there and nobody thought to pick that up.
Yeah. Because probably no one ever thought Meredith would have an actual husband. All right. Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Hope that helps.
It does. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. We really hope that you find this helpful and useful. And if you do, what you could do for us as a thanks would be to, drumroll please, yes, leave a review. Yes, everybody says it, I know, but it really does make a difference. Take 3 seconds, leave as many stars, say something really nice about what you like about the podcast and maybe why other people would like it. It would mean the world to us, especially my husband. That better? All right, I'm going to try one where I'm not going to be charming.